place an emphasis on the idea of nighttime, simply because the night can often test our courage and our certainty of safety. If you've never experienced nighttime experiences in your life, the old saints would always say, just keep on living, because God will lead you through some nighttime experiences. There are one or two witnesses in here that can say their nighttime experiences in life have not ever been easy. The reality is God keeps proving through the nighttime. That's when your faith can truly be developed. That's right. It's in the proverbial darkness of life that we oftentimes discover a lot more about ourselves and about God. And if we were to be truthful this morning, many of us are closer to God not because of the daytime experiences, but we've become more dependent upon God because He's forced us to go through some nighttime moments. And our faith is often developed not because we've had it easy, but it's been because God has often pushed us through moments that we felt helpless and even hopeless. And He stepped in and proved that I am with you even when no one else is on your side. The good news about the dark is we as children of God are in our element. It's because we as a people of faith, we thrive when life gets worse. Now, it's not our desire, and I understand in this place, I would be the first to raise my hand and say, Lord, I would prefer blessings over burdens. But I have discovered that God always knows what's best for us. Isn't that so? And while we are called out of the darkness and into the marvelous light, meaning out of our lifestyle of sin, and drawn closer to the light, which is our Heavenly Father, the reality is we as children of God have to be exposed to darkness ever so often for us to prove that we believe in the one that we talk about. It's easy on Sunday to say that I love the Lord, He heard my cry. But on Sunday night, when everything is falling apart in our lives, the reality is that's the moment that God is trying to see, will we truly give Him glory and praise even when things aren't going our way? During the history of warfare, operations at night have always been degraded significantly at nighttime. We find that soldiers oftentimes found themselves resting and not necessarily trying to attack the enemy because the only means of seeing was through using lamps and lights. And at nighttime, the military through history has cut off many of its attacks against the enemy. Because if it let its light shine, it would reveal to the enemy its position and the maneuvers that they were trying to attempt. However, over the years, there has been usage of night vision, which allows soldiers to be able to see the enemy while the enemy cannot see them. And through these times, soldiers have discovered through using special lenses, they are able to see dangers that are soon to come. Well, we as children of God, we have discovered in nighttime operations and in nighttime moments in our lives, it's necessary for us to use a specialized lens called faith. I just want to say anyone that knows that faith is the substance of things hoped for and it is the evidence of things not seen. And so it's by nighttime experiences that we are forced to look at life through a totally different view and not look at every situation as we would if we weren't operating by faith. Faith carries you through the journeys of life even when you can't see what the end is going to be. I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, Pastor McMillan and I were riding down Old Grande, and we parked in a parking lot one day and began to talk to one another about what God was birthing in our hearts. And I remember parking in a parking lot saying, Pastor, I believe that God is going to take care of his church if we just live by faith. And all it takes is 1 or 2 folk that will stand with you and touch and agree with you. And when you walk by faith with somebody else, even when you know that you got some dangers that you can't see, I wonder, are there any witnesses that knows that God will take care of his children? And somebody's in this place right now. The reason why you're in your right mind is you didn't have a whole lot of folk. You didn't have no posse. You didn't have all your homeboys and homegirls. But you had just 1 or 2 folk in your life that you could depend on that could say, if you keep trusting God, God will make a way. And that's a good spot, church folk, for you to give God some glory that he put the folk in your life that you need to stand with you. When other folks laid out, when other folks called you crazy, you kept saying, I will trust in the Lord. And I promised him that I would serve him until I die. I wonder if there are any witnesses that get back and say, God kept me through my nighttime. So the idea of survival is not at play for the children of God. We're not worrying about surviving because we already know the victory has been won. And whatever you're going through, if you're a child of God, rest assured you already got the victory. You got family problems, God will make a way for you. Talk if you can. If you got problems at work, God will make a way for you. Talk if you can. If you're sick, God will make a way for you. If you lose your life, rest assured God has made a way for you, because when you lose your life, to him it's gain. My brothers and sisters, I've discovered in this life, it's not about surviving for God's children. We're not just trying to make it, but tell your neighbor, I'm trying to win. You see, it's one thing when you're just playing the game of life and you're just trying to get from day to day, but it's something else when you walking around with your head held high and you can say, look, I know that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Look, I know I'm the head and not the tail. Look, I know I'm above and not beneath. Look, I know I'm an heir of the throne. I know I'm one of God's children. Is there anybody that can say, I'm playing to win? Well, I want you to understand there's a formula. I believe this text shows us, my brothers and sisters, shows us that as God's children, we have to put our trust in God and knowing that he's working things out even when we can't figure it out. And I know we say that all the time, but my brothers and sisters, the reality is we have to learn to trust that God knows what he's doing. If you don't think I'm right about it, my brothers and sisters, from the beginning of time, God positioned nighttime right between sunset and sunrise. He planned for nighttime to come. And in your life, rest assured, children of God, he's planned nighttime experiences for you, for the person that's sitting by you, for the person that's sitting in front of you. Everything in your life is not going to always be pretty and pleasant. You're going to have some nighttime moments. If you make it through the daylight, rest assured nighttime is soon around the corner. And that's why you all might ever get too haughty and say, well, I got it all together, because nighttime is soon at hand. Somebody's going to get sick in your house. Do I have any help in here? Somebody's going to go crazy in your house. Do I have any help in here? Somebody's going to lose their mind that's in your
near to worship Christ the Lord and bless His name, His holy name, declaring